The head of state will retain those very few powers now held by the Governor-General, which in the most exceptional circumstances may be exercised without or possibly contrary to ministerial advice. These are the so-called reserved powers. There's the power to appoint the Prime Minister, the power to dismiss the Prime Minister and therefore the government, and the power to refuse a request by the Prime Minister to dissolve one or both houses of Parliament. The government believes that, on balance, whatever the immediate attraction of this course might be, it would not be desirable to attempt to codify the reserved powers, and that the design, processes and conventions at present governing their exercise by the Governor-General should be transferred to the Australian head of state without alteration.
Does the Prime Minister accept that his statement last night was nothing less than a complete and absolute vindication of Sir John Kerr, who used the reserve powers, which you have deliberately left intact, to sack the most monumentally incompetent government in Australia's history, the Labor government of Gough Whitlam?
I wish you remember.
You were too, Minister. Mr. Speaker, I ask the Prime Minister, are those who maintain the rage wrong? I ask, will the Labor Party, for you as Prime Minister, apologise to the family of Sir John Kerr for making him
the Prime Minister, I think, is trying to hear the question.
Up until the time of his death?
Those of us who were around in 1975 know that if the dispute had gone on a couple more days, the likelihood is Malcolm Fraser wouldn't even have been Leader of the Opposition. That is that there would have been a complete cave-in in the Senate, and of course the supply bill would have passed, and the whole matter would have passed, and the then opposition may well have won the subsequent election 18 months later. But of course, Malcolm Fraser lost that legitimacy he was always looking for, and it was permanently denied him as a consequence. It was also, Mr. Speaker, it was also denied. That same legitimacy was also denied to Sir John Kerr. And Mr. Speaker, let me say, I think that's been a very salutary exercise in what I described last night as one of the checks on a head of state. That is, someone who determines upon a course of action he or she knows to be controversial. They need to understand that the action is both warranted and capable of being defended. And if it's not warranted and capable of being defended, then they will have to wear the opprobrium of public opinion. What made it illegitimate was the fact that the power was abused. And it was abused by a Governor-General who refused to tell his Prime Minister what he had in mind. And as you know, I was with Gough Whitlam on the last occasion he saw Sir John Kerr, the very last occasion, that afternoon, and let me assure you, there was no attempt by him whatsoever to tell the then Prime Minister what he had in mind. And so he swore in Malcolm Fraser. Malcolm Fraser then had to wear a loss of confidence, a lack of confidence motion, a no confidence motion in the House of Representatives, and then, Mr. Speaker, the Governor-General refused to see the Speaker of the House of Representatives. When the head of state got down to refusing to see the Speaker of the House of Representatives, when he got down to refusing to see the Speaker of the House of Representatives, you knew basically, in moral terms, the game was up for him, and it's been up for him ever since.